Chris Graham here for Trailblazer RV. We're here in the shop at Trailblazer and we're going to take you through a new RV orientation on this 2019 THOR Motorcoach Chateau 24F. This one is on the GMC chassis, which is rare. Most motorhomes nowadays are on the Ford E-Series chassis. So that means you have a 6-liter V8 gas motor. All of your service and maintenance for the engine and chassis component can be done through a GM dealer. All of the service and maintenance for your RV components through us, Trailblazer RV. Here under the hood, a couple of notable things to cover. Your oil dipstick here, accessible and labeled in yellow for easy access, as well as your wiper, washer fluid top up here. Some other fluid reservoirs accessible here under the hood, coolant, power steering, and obviously oil fill. But for most of the maintenance on the motorhome, like I said, we refer you to a GM dealership. Around the side of the motorhome, you'll find your side view cameras mounted in the mirrors. The mirrors are electric heated mirrors. Your mirror adjustment you'll find just inside the entry door here, and the red backlit switch is your switch to activate the heated mirrors. You'll find an important switch down here to the left of the steering column labeled emergency start. This is how you will use the RV battery to boost the engine start battery. If your engine start battery ever goes dead, you can press and hold that switch to boost the engine battery with the RV battery. We'll cover a little bit more of the cab controls when we come around inside. Here is the access to your hot water tank. So this is an Atwood hot water tank. It's a direct spark ignition tank, so there's no pilot lights or anything to worry about. To drain the hot water tank though in the winter, you'll pull this little plug out of the bottom of the tank. This style of tank doesn't require an anode rod, so it's just the plastic plug. Before you remove that though, make sure to use the pressure relief valve to bleed the water pressure off of the tank so that you don't get sprayed when you pull that plug. Beneath the hot water tank is where you'll find your generator. It's an Awning 4,000 watt gas powered generator. It operates off of the RV's fuel tank, so no need to carry any auxiliary fuel or anything for it. This generator will only start if there's a quarter tank of fuel or more in the RV. Anything less than a quarter tank of fuel and the generator won't start. You have a generator ignition switch from outside here. You also have one from inside the RV, and we'll show you that when we get inside. But to start the generator, press and hold the prime button until the red light lights up, and then you start. Shut that down for now, but when the generator starts up, it takes 10 or 15 seconds for the automatic transfer switch to kick in. So once that generator starts up, you'll have to let it run for a few seconds before you find you actually have 110 volt power to the RV. Right here, you've got a baggage door. Your baggage door key is this white Global Link key that opens all of your baggage doors. Inside here, you've got just some storage, and this is where you'll find your slide-out control or your slide-out circuit board. The only thing that is worth showing on this is mainly just the control for the slide. But if you ever had a power failure with your slide-out, you can put this into a manual mode that will allow you to bring the slide out in one time, and then you'll have to get the RV to a service center like us. Right here is your propane system. So it's an ASME propane tank. This will need to be filled by a certified propane person. When they go to fill it, they'll fill from right here, the liquid level gauge here, and you can see the gauge here for your propane showing between 3/4 and full. This gauge will almost never read completely full because you'll only fill this tank to 80%. The propane valve is here, so you'll have to open this valve in order to utilize the RV's propane system. Right here is just a storage compartment, kind of a large, odd storage compartment, but it's a lot of space, so it's good that they used it. And right here is where your 30 amp power cord will attach. So the power cord just attaches right onto the side of the RV. It's a 30 amp cord, and many of the sites that you camp at will have 30 amp power. For those that don't, we supply a park adapter to break that down to 15 amp household style power. Right here is where you'll do your sewer dumping. So we supply a 20-foot medium heavy-duty sewer hose with the RV. It's stored inside the rear bumper right now. Sewer hose attaches right here. The other end goes into the ground. And then you'll notice you've got two valves, a larger black valve and a smaller gray valve. The larger black valve is your sewer tank. You'll always dump this one first. Once this one has finished draining, you can close this valve and open the gray valve. That's your sink and shower water, and that will kind of flush the contents through the hose so that there's nothing left in the hose when you disconnect it to put it back in storage. When you're dumping your black holding tank, you can hook a hose up right here to the Santee flush system. That will spray out the inside of the black holding tank, spray off the walls of the tank, and the monitor probes help keep that monitor panel reading accurately. This is your fuel area where you'll fuel the motorhome with gasoline. Probably goes without saying, but don't confuse this with your fresh water fill, which is on the other side. Hitch on the back and 7-pole RV wiring. On this motorhome, we've wired in a trailer brake control and a hotline for you as well. So you are all set to tow a trailer behind. And rear view camera integrated into the clearance light up there at the top. Couple of vents on this side. This is your furnace vent on the bottom. You can remove this panel to access the furnace for service or maintenance work, but mostly just a vent, and it does get very hot, so make sure that if young kids are around the RV, they know to stay away from that. And the vent right above that is for your fridge. Again, you can twist these two latches to remove the vent for access for cleaning and maintenance and repair, but not really very much need to ever get into there. It is mostly just an air vent. Has a condensation tube here. It is recommended that you leave this sticking out from the vent so that as condensation drips, it drips out onto the ground rather than into the fridge compartment for the RV. Right here you've just got a couple of storage compartments. All of your storage compartments are lighted, so they've all got their own little 12-volt light. Right next to the entry door is that freshwater fill. So when you want to fill the RV's water tank, you can do that with a garden hose, or better yet, what we recommend is one of those white drinking water specific hoses, so you don't get that plastic garden hose taste in your water. And just inside the entry door, you've got a couple of switches here, one for your outside awning light and one for your interior lighting. You'll also find just inside the entry door your awning switch. So you can press and hold that switch to retract or extend the awning. The awning extends a full 8 feet. If you don't have 8 feet of space, that's fine. You can stop it at any point, as we'll do here. And I'm just going to show you how to adjust the height of that awning. It's easier when it's fully extended, but this arm right here can pull down to lower one side of the awning. That'll allow you to control where the rainwater runs off of your awning. So follow me back inside here. We can go through a few more things here. There's also a switch here for a step light. That's just for safety with the sunken step well. These were the main light switches. And then these are for your rear stabilizing jacks. So you can press and hold the down button on those to get those jacks snug with the ground. But once they're snug with the ground, that's all you want to extend them. They're not designed to lift the back of the motorhome. It's not a leveling system, simply a stability system. So just lower them to be snug with the ground. Before you travel, you'll want to bring both of those all the way up. If you don't bring them all the way up, there is an audible alarm that you'll hear, just kind of a beeping sound if you start the vehicle without bringing these up. But just remember to fully retract them. Underneath your countertop extension here, we can find our solar panel remote meter. And we're inside the building right now, so obviously the battery is not charging by the solar panel. But we can see that it is at 76% the battery, and if we were charging, it would show the amperage that we're charging at from the solar panel there. To fold your counter extension back down, just have to push in on those two supports, and the extension folds down. Right up here is your control center. So this is where you'll access your monitor panel. You can check the level of your propane, which is completely full right now. Battery, very close to full as well. Fresh tank has about a third of the tank left full of water from our tests, and the black and gray holding tanks are both empty. This is also where you'll control your slide out. So simple extend and retract button. If we press and hold the extend button, you'll be able to see the slide out behind me extending. This is a LCI Schwintek style slide. So you'll want to run this slide all the way out and all the way in. It's not a good idea to stop this one halfway and bring it back in. It won't harm anything, but it can come out of alignment. If your slide out does come out of alignment, all you should need to do is run it all the way out and all the way back in to let the two motors that power this slide equalize. Once the slide reaches the end of its travel, it'll just stop, and you can release your finger from the button. switch here for your tank heaters. These are 12-volt heat pads on your black and gray holding tanks if you're using the RV through some cooler weather. You activate your water pump from right here. So we hear the water pump come on and pressurize the system. Now we can pump water from the RV's freshwater tank. And your hot water heater can run on 110 volt electricity if you're parked somewhere with power hookups, or on propane gas if you're not plugged into electricity. Just turn those on to start up the propane. And I don't know if you could hear it in the video, but that propane burner has lit up now for the hot water. This is also where you'll find the remote ignition for your generator. So same thing to start it inside here as outside, except for to prime it, rather than a button that says prime, you'll just press and hold the stop button until the red light comes on, showing that it's primed. Then you can start up the generator. Again, just like outside, we'll need to leave that generator run for maybe 15 to 30 seconds before the transfer switch will kick on. Once the transfer switch kicks on, we'll be able to see a light up on our microwave. There we go. So once you hear that beep, now your transfer switch is kicked on and all of your 110 volt power is operating off of your generator. Shut that down. When you go to shut down the generator, press and hold the stop button until the generator is fully stopped. It should shut down just fine if you didn't do that, but to prevent it from trying to start back up, just hold that stop button. Here in your kitchen, you've got your 3-burner stove top. All 3 burners light via the piezo sparker. And anytime you take your motorhome for fuel and have them refill your propane system, I always recommend that you come to the fridge or to the stove, turn on the burners, and light all 3 burners. That'll ensure that you've bled the air off of the propane system, and you'll have no problem getting your fridge, furnace, and propane tank lit, or fridge, furnace, and hot water tank lit from the propane. The only pilot light in the RV is for the oven. So to light the oven, turn it over to the little flame there on the knob. Push in on that knob, and you'll light your pilot right underneath here. Once you can see a flame burning there, continue to hold in on the knob for 10 or 15 seconds, and then turn the oven up to temperature. Once you're finished using the oven, you can turn it down to the pilot mode and just leave that pilot burning, or you can turn the oven all the way off and just relight it next time you need to use the oven. The switch here is for your blue LED lighted stove knobs. Right here at your fridge, it's an automatic gas electric fridge. So a simple on-off switch, and what we recommend is that you always leave it in automatic mode. When it has electricity available, if it's in automatic, it will always run on electricity. So if you're plugged into power or your generator is running, the fridge will cool electrically. But if you shut down your generator or somebody unplugs the RV, it'll sense that and it'll automatically switch over to gas. You can override the automatic to only run on gas. You may want to do that if you're going to be cycling your generator on and off frequently. Then it won't be switching back and forth all the time. And you might also find that the fridge cools a little faster on gas than it does on electricity. Now, having said that, it takes several hours to cool a RV fridge down, so we recommend getting the fridge running the day before you load up so that it's nice and cold when you put your food into it. Turn that off for now. Your bed, the mattress is hinged in the middle, kind of right at knee level, so that the slide can come in. So when you go to bring the slide in, flip the mattress over like that, and it'll come up to the basically to the sidewall here. Here in the bedroom is where you'll find your thermostat. So this controls both the heat and cooling systems for the RV. For heat, turn the system over to heat and slide the thermostat up to a temperature that you're comfortable at. The furnace fan comes on immediately, but it's going to take a few seconds, 15 or 20 seconds, before the burner actually lights up. And you should be able to hear that. There we go. So now if we gave it a few seconds, we would have warm air blowing through the vents near the floor. Once the motorhome comes up to temperature, or you shut off the system, the exact same thing happens, only in reverse. The burner goes out immediately, but the fan's going to continue to run for 30 seconds to a minute just to go through its cycle before it shuts down. On the cooling side, you need to be plugged into power or running your generator for this to work. You can run just the air conditioning fan, or you can run the actual air conditioning itself. And there's two fan settings, high and low fan speed, and always on or automatic per the thermostat. The air conditioner fan has two fan speeds. The heat only has one fan speed, so this is only for when you're running the air conditioner. I think that basically covers it in the bedroom area. Here in the bathroom, a couple of things to cover. The power outlet in here is a notable power outlet. This is a GFI outlet. Same as the ones in the bathroom in your home, with a test and reset button. The difference in an RV is this is wired in series with all the rest of your power outlets. So if you're plugged into power or your generator's running and you're not getting any power from your outlets, come in here, press the reset button, and it should reset everything. Anytime you're using your RV's sewer system, you'll want to use a good potent RV toilet chemical. It comes in powder, liquid, or tablet form. And when you go to add toilet chemical to the system, open up a package, pour it into the bowl, and then use the foot flush to push halfway down to fill the bowl with water. Once the bowl is full of water and toilet chemical, you can push the rest of the way down to dump the whole works down into the tank. The chemical needs a little bit of water to activate it, so make sure every time you put toilet chemical into your system, you put some water down with it. You'll want to add new chemical immediately after every time you dump your black holding tank. Your power converter is here beneath the bed frame. So this is the power center for the RV. This is where you'll find all of the breakers for your 110 volt circuits and all of the fuses for your 12 volt circuits. You've got predominantly 15 amp fuses here, but you've also got a couple of 40s, a 30, and a 5 amp fuse. So not a bad idea to have just some assorted fuses on hand with you. It's not uncommon in an RV to blow a fuse. So if you have some with you, you'll be able to change it out at the campsite if you ever need to. And right next to that is where you'll find your propane leak detector. So this is a combination propane carbon monoxide detector. So it'll actually do three things. It'll alert you to a propane leak. It'll alert you to a potential carbon monoxide situation. And the third thing, and most common, is it will alert you to a low voltage situation. If the RV batteries have gotten very low, this will chirp just like a smoke detector in your home does when its battery is low. Speaking of smoke detectors, you have one here near the entry door. This is not wired into the RV's electrical system. It has its own battery, so you'll want to check that periodically. You can test the smoke detector by pressing the test button . And we have not yet installed this battery. now your smoke detector is active. Up here in the cab of the motorhome, you've got a few things on the dash here that are worth talking about. Here, let's just we don't have a cab light in here that we can turn on, but the in-dash touchscreen system is part of the RV electrical system rather than the vehicle electrical system. So you'll have to have your battery disconnect, turn the on position for this to work, and its default position is off. So you just have to press the button to turn it on when you start the vehicle. If you press the home button, now you can toggle between radio, you can sync your phone to it for Bluetooth phone and Bluetooth music, and there's several audio and video inputs here available. The rear camera, if you turn that on, you can leave that rear camera view on the entire time you drive. It's not like the modern vehicles where you have to have it in reverse. A lot of people like to leave that rear view on the entire time they're driving. The side view mirrors will override the rear view mirror when you activate your signal lights. There's also a couple of plug-ins down here, USB charger and HDMI. The USB charger obviously is for charging portable devices. The HDMI plug-in is for smartphone mirroring. The system doesn't have built-in GPS. So if you hit the dual mirror button and connect your smartphone with an HDMI, it will mirror the display of the smartphone up here. And that's what a lot of our customers do for a GPS solution, is your smartphone will have a GPS that's much more reliable than most factory installed automotive systems. Go back to home. I'll just leave it set on the radio setting for you for now. To turn this off, just press and hold the on button to shut off the display. You also have a power inverter here in the dash. This is separate from the RV's power system. This is running off of the vehicle, so you'll need to have the vehicle started and running for this power inverter to work. This is the brake control that we put in, so it's all installed and ready to go. When you're hooked up to a trailer with electric brakes, you can use the manual slider to apply the brakes on the trailer, or else when you activate the brakes on the vehicle, it will apply a proportional amount of braking to the trailer that you're pulling. And I think for the most part that covers it. I hope you've learned something about the 2019 THOR Motorcoach Chateau 24F. If you have any questions, you can always get a hold of us here at Trailblazer, or you can check our website, trailblazerrv.com. Thanks for watching.